I'm just gonna run through dealing with an overexcited dog. This dog here, Zoe, she's here for training. This is day 3, and what I'm doing is I'm just gonna use Wendy here as a distraction, and I'm gonna show you when I correct her and when I leave her, so it's easy for you to see what to leave and what not to leave. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna leave the dog until she shows intent. So what she might do is she might like lock on to Wendy, she might lean into the lead, she's probably gonna lift her head slightly higher, and her energy's gonna go crazy, and that's when I'm gonna correct her. So I'm catching her when she hits the point where she's escalating and kind of committing. Everything else I'm leaving at the moment. Later on, I will start to nitpick her for little things like this and get more focus and things, but at the moment, I just want to catch her when she's at the top range, and then I'm gonna work her down from there till she's nice and calm. So now she's wound up that Wendy's left. So when Wendy left, you could see she kind of locked on again, and she started to escalate. Her energy went up and up and up. I corrected her when the energy kind of peaked or at that kind of prime point, versus this kind of stuff I'm just leaving at the moment until she commits again. And you're going to see when Wendy comes around the corner, she's going to escalate again because she's got a dog, and I'm going to correct her at the point of escalation, and then I'm just going to wait for her to de-escalate or let her process and then see what happens again. So lock on again, you can see she's showing more intent. She moved away there, so she went into avoidance. I'll just move her again, locked on again. There, intent, oi. So when she moved in, she kind of like started to hone in on the dog, then I leave the rest. So she's processing now. Processing. This is when I could possibly, like if she was at a trained point, I could maybe put her in a down or something to de-escalate the brain, but I'm not too worried actually at the moment. I just want to kind of leave her in a standing so it gives me more feedback of where her brain's at. She's gone into avoidance again, I'll snap her out of that. So every time she commits to something is when I'm actually correcting her. Intent again. Oi. So you can see what's happening here is there's 2 things I want to look for, is pressure coming on and pressure leaving. So you can see when the pressure leaves is actually what's triggering the dog more. The pressure coming towards isn't so bad. This is a prime example. Phoenix and Wendy are coming back again. We're locking on here. Mouth is shutting and opening, but it's yawning on her own. Escalating here, intent. Oi. So the reason I corrected her there was her mouth shut. She didn't open and soften at all. She was locked on. Her ears went intense again. I marked oi, and then I corrected. So same thing again, Wendy's gonna leave again, and then same pressure release. I wanna see what she does again. So see, same reaction. So the correction there was because she tried to divert around me. So she committed, she'd put her head slightly away from me, and then she put her head slightly away from me and was kind of avoiding me, but it's actually a dominant sign there. And then I corrected her for that, and then the rest kind of just process. So you can see I'm letting her process in between, but I'm correcting for the moments of her escalating or showing intent or committing to something. Softening even more, locking on here, but not so intense. Mouth not shut yet. This is okay. Looking for guidance, good, that's fine. And then pressure release again, good. Looked for guidance again, good. Nice. Release of tension. So this is kind of like the dog redirecting the energy somewhere else. It doesn't know what to do, so this is where you got to be careful. Oi. I corrected there because she was starting to lean into lead. She wasn't shutting her mouth or ears going forward, but she was leaning. So that's another form of intent. There's a few different signs. I know when she's leaning, her mouth shut and her ears are forward, that's like most intent, versus mouth open, ears forward, but leaning, not as intense. So that gives me feedback of how hard I need to correct her too. Yeah, leaning, slight leaning. Good. So you can see she's self-correcting now and looking for guidance, which is good. And I'm marking just with a nice soft good there when she gives me eye contact. Oi. So there she showed more intent. So the second she tried to go around behind her, so behind me and her, she showed a different sort of intent. So I'm hitting the dog from different angles there. So you can see You can see I'm come from a front approach, and then I start to get the dog to cut around behind, and I see how the dog copes with that. And then we'll kind of work the dog around different angles and triggers and see where the dog's triggered the most. It might be me, the dog might be when the dog comes near me, that's what's triggering it. So there's a number of different things and approaches I've got to look at. So the dog's just alert here, like I'm not going to correct her yet for this, like later on I will, and later on the training. But at the moment I'm not worried about this, I just want to wait for her to escalate. And then once I've got rid of that reaction, then I can just deal with everything else. If I keep correcting the dog for this, I'm going to suppress the dog's drives, and I'm going to create a drone dog. So she's just going to kind of end up just not having a lot of life to her and just being a drone. Whereas I don't want that. Let's go. I just want her to be attentive. But the reason she's alert is because she's uncertain. So when you look at the underlying cause of the dog being uncertain or still fixating on the fact that Wendy's left, it's in defense drive, which is when it's alert, and then it kicks into fight drive is when it lunges. So I'm trying to catch it only when it's in fight at the moment, get rid of the fight in the dog, and then I'll work the dog out of defense later. So yeah, there's a couple of different kind of components there that I want to work the dog with, and I'm aware of when I'm training. Let's go. So that's working a dog that's in defense drive and going into fight, and how to correct the dog when it's about to trigger or it has triggered, and we're correcting for intent there. And so we're catching the dog just before it, either when it lunges or just before it lunges, and I'm trying to get rid of that reaction first. The dog will be in defense, and then I'll work the dog out of defense and into a relaxed state or pack drive again. Let's go.